This day 558 Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. The sponsor upcoming share or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Please contact me directly. Be very greatly appreciated. Today we're doing Siman Shin Lamed Sif Yud. This Shin Lamed Aleph Sif Beis. And we're talking about 5. Machlekes to the Rambam b'chayla. The Rambam oiseh b'chayla asos medura v'tamo l'pishi efshar karm b'kos usasos. Machlekes Rambam to whether you make a bonfire for a regular sick person, because the Rambam says just add blankets. And the avam biol nechol shas lotis bozeh. Only by a woman giving birth to make an exception, because on account of weakness, to swaddle her in blankets is not going to help the situation. It's not a good thing to do when she's trying to give birth. Vaturi tirgam b'chayla to allow this even by a chola. Zeldas harif, and that's the opinion of the rif and the rosh. V'amachlos to b'suyos the shas sham, the machlos is the suyos of the shas in Tafnun Beis. V'chil figursos and different versions. K'mosh kasa magin mishnah v'is yosef. Rabbeinu says it was given zemumah. The Rebbe doesn't mention this at all. The b'sim shinchav ches lokas abrak. Heki's dominates down. He always said that if you bled blood and he became cold, osim l'madur ayin sham, you make for him a bonfire. V'lo b'cholet, not by a sick person. B'shum the daito, nota das atur, connected a Rambam. Interesting. Should daito nota das atur. You really held like it was inclined to tur. Connected Rambam will tell you so, but you don't want to go against the Rambam who's machmir here. Feel like shmita says when we said. Interesting policy. He just moves himself to the subject. In fact, in the core of this halacha, Beis Yosef wrote, he's not sure which way he should go. So he's something of Micah Mari. When since you can make a medura for chayla, what are we talking about? Only a chayla who's in danger, or he's not in danger. Therefore, he avoided the whole issue. The idea near last society in Yehudi, Allah seems to do it by a non-Jew. The Mishmur says for any other illness, you can do it by a non-Jew. If there isn't, but if there's danger, if the chayla says he needs it, then if there's no non-Jew around, you do it even by Yisrael. I think that's a double portion. Okay, back to Arukh HaShulchan Dura. You'll let us a chola if you made a bonfire for a woman who gives birth or for a sick person. Whether the healthy people are allowed to eat themselves opposite this bonfire is very simulation above the mutar is permissible. The when there's great cold, without a non-Jew outright to stoke the fire on Shabbos. Everybody is considered to be sick when it comes to heat and cold. Heat and pachim. Yurav. Because Baruch Echis Yisrael de Cheska Novi Mar Umlaratayich Modo Saich B'Yom Holeres Osach Lo Karas Sarech U'Mamayim Lo Chatz L'Mishi V'Hamlach Lo Mam V'Hamelach Lo Hamlach V'Achtel Lo Chatat. So this is a rebuke, and it says that when you gave birth, your umbilical cord was not cut, you weren't washed in water to be smooth, and you weren't salted, and you weren't diapered. The form is that she is so we see there's an anguish for the child, for the newborn, if you don't do all these things for him. Therefore, because of the anguish of the child, I'm allowed to be done to the tinok, to the child on Shabbos. Came to James said malachas deraisa, since there's no malachas deraisa involved. Ella shvusim, at worst, the rabbanos uved the whole and even lower level of prohibition, things which are vachadik. Zeu shamru v'zabergim finance. It says at the end of the paragraph finance. So I believe that is. Umalad taycha biyom ulad because you out himself lad. From here we see that you can assist in the child being born b'Shabbos. L'kras tarech. Here you can say that you cut the umbilical cord to the navel on Shabbos. You see that you wash the newborn on Shabbos. Mikan shemochin abba b'Shabbos le'dei mlicha basor miskasher. They salt him because by salting evidently makes his skin stronger. The Mishnah Berurah says that Rashi seems to say that the mlicha is by salt, but the Rambam seems to say that it's some sort of powder made of hadassim, of myrtles, or something similar. Swaddle the child on Shabbos. Is he wrap him chagiros with belts and piskos and bands. Viklin. Okay. Also, they had this medical belief that you have to put the placenta in a place which preserves it for the child to be warm. And this is something which is kind of like metaphysical, transcends the laws of nature. Maybe have that for safekeeping and I think burying it in something makes the placenta makes the child warm. On a weekday they would bury them in the ground. With Shabbos Shabbos can't do that. But Shabbos December so therefore they would put placenta on Shabbos in wool or cotton or in straw. You base in the Rambam because of Sheminei Sakana, because of Mesh Sakana Hulo in Loyas Hulo Kol Ela. Ayin Sham. The Rambam seems to say if you don't do all these things for the newborn, it's a Sakana. If he's a Mitzvah Sagam Melachot Daraisa, so that's the case. Even you need two Melachot Daraisa in order to meet one of these criteria. From having sucking there, which is a rabbin, it's supposed to say says bring a knife through which is a rabbin and things like that. Kakim would also be permissible. Not do these things for the newborn, it only causes anguish. And therefore, only Rabbanas are mutter for this. Because all the things he mentioned, there's no real Doraisa. Nearly and Dina, it seems to me, says the Halacha, the Arukh HaShulchan says, the came of the Rambam because of that was because his Ram writes it is the Sakara. Need that takes this plea, like granted, takes this argument in him. There's suffix to Sakara, but there is a suffix Sakara here. Shamalaka Rambam, maybe like the Rambam. Because suffix Sakara, Mutar Chal Shabbos. It was a question of it's a doubt about Sakara Yom Chal Shabbos. Therefore, in order to procure these things, you need L'Melach Daraisa, you need Torah Melach, Yasoy Dein Yehudi. Try to do it by non-Jew, you can't get a non-Jew, do it yourself. It's suffix the Pashas Hagel, because it's a suffix of Hatzos the Pashas. The word doesn't give a determination here. It also says by a goy one can be lenient. Yugimel, because the Kaswa Tur of Shulchan Aruch Sif Zayin, Haimil L'Shiva L'Tisha. That's if the child is born at the end of 7 or 9 months of pregnancy, as they believe back then. There were different terms, 7 and 9 months, but 8 months was not viable. I will know the Shema was born after 8 months pregnancy, or something that Shiva ben Shemana over the doubt whether it's 7 or 8 months pregnancy. Eimachayim Alav, you can't desecrate the Shabbos on him. Ellen Kain Gemara Gamut Sarah B'Tziparav, unless his hair and fingernails are readily distinct. Mishnah says the Gra is not sure about this, and in terms of Chil Shabbos, he says that perhaps it also has to be alive 30 days. Only in terms of moving the child, you can move the child if it's less than 30 days old. But in any event, this is not okay halacha today, because by halacha today we have technology to keep kids alive during the 8th month, and we have keep kids alive even before the 7th month. So therefore, everything goes by what you are able to accomplish reasonably, and there's not a majority chance, but a reasonable chance you could succeed. But according to the old days, if it was an 8-month pregnancy, if you do not see the nails and the hair, you would assume it's a miscarriage. So even in the case of doubt, you would not be mechalo. The Allah does bring down opinions that you would be mechalo Shabbos for it. Avagav the chosa you go nevesh chalin. Any subay pikuach nevesh you are mechalo Shabbos. Excuse me, but I feel even though we do not know for sure that he is alive. Kamo b'ubar b'siv ches, like we learned by Fida Siv Ches, love sucking derech shesram, having a knife to try and perform an emergency cesarean through a public domain. Here we don't desecrate the Shabbos for this. Because we see there is a shortcoming here. His hair and his nails are not complete. You know, you can have it looks quite explicitly like a miscarriage. Remember those who say the B'siv Ches Ba'inan Leida Davkosh Kol Chadashot. That we all have to know. You have to know specifically that the number of months have passed. That's not enough to rely on the hair or the nails. This is astonishing. The Soperagam Be'echin Tani Badin Zeh. It says that the Salach Yeshua Mashber, she sat on the birthing chair. Ba'atu below Kol Chadashot Ein Shevetz Ala Mashber. So even if it's an 8-month child, you're still going to sit on the birthing chair. So his question was, I guess, that those who say that we have to know whether the months are complete, that doesn't seem to be the case because she's Yosheves al Mashber, even if the months are not complete, but nevertheless not Machal Shabbos because of the Reus of the child. Again, doesn't apply nowadays. Yudal, Tino Shaninamo Shmona Vadai. A child is born definitely after 8-month pregnancy. A son ben Shiva ben Son ben Shmona, we're not sure if it's 7 or 8. Shalogam Tiparnov, whose hair and nails are not complete. Also, Tatlo Shul Mukta. You can't carry it because it's Mukta, because it's like a lump of dead meat, to put it bluntly. But his mother can bend over him and nurse him, not because of the child, because the anguish of carrying the milk, when her breasts are full. She's also allowed to express by hand this milk cause of anguish. Even though when somebody milks, they're liable because of extraction. So this way the milk is preserved. It's used. But it's going to be destroyed anyway. Listen, the Rabbanan telling this is Rabbanan Shutzar goes in a place of anguish and they make a decree. Koshkin of a post comes in the most possible question in Tzikl Group of Potter. Or Machshan is exempt. Or Mapis Mursa, like Papi Blister, Lo Gosim Shumtzara, a place of Tzara, they didn't answer it. Testimony from Yashin Ebari of Lad, you can strain the limbs of a child. She's Barku meet Neitzar later, which got dislocated because of the travail of the being born. Dafki Mission specifically first half. Achkach also, but not afterwards. Mission Mexic Bonet. As afterwards looks like Bonet. The Dai Mamashim Shayin also Biyom Arishon. It's enough whatever they left with him on the first day, I guess, that he survived that way. Interesting. Mishabur says if they don't swallow him, no, that's going next thing. Mishabur says for a lot of poskim it sounds that there's no difference even after a month or 2 months. It's a motor, therefore you can't be machmer. And a disc which got dislocated from the spine, you can't book back unless of the day of birth, because then you can make it even with that. I guess that's much more bonad to construct the spine than construct anything else. Okay. Other subsequent times, if something gets dislocated, you can wait till night falls that problem. You can't fix the vertebrae of a spine of a child. Zibit Sadzu one next to each other. It's like Bona Kalashano. Rambam, the Perak Bays, the Mutter Zebi Homoloda. The Rambam doesn't say it's okay on the first day. Utaito Gambi Homoloda also. It's also usher on the first day, because there's no lasting health concern. Until Shulchan Lamdudin said that you're allowed to on the first day. The man raised Perakol Kalim on Asuba Yunuka to swallow the child the first day to locate all his limbs. Of Sheshis Shari, she's allowed it. Perishrash who takes the Zeli Asher Bar Ayin Sham. Just to train his limbs. Later, it sounds like it's sometimes mutter, sometimes also must be on a day of birth that's permitted. And Achakak it's not much because it takes Sham. Avaram in relation Farish compares Arukh. That it's a totally different thing, this Asuba Yanuka. Nothing to do with swaddling. So din because Rabbein Beis Yosef out. Different halacha Beis Yosef wrote. The nafla agola arlas hagaron shel avlad the epiglottis of the child somehow got dislocated. So then, mutar assume or you can put a finger in his mouth, cycle him, come and put the epiglottis away. Obviously, Shapamim should make it, even though that somehow times it's going to cause you to vomit. I can't show the child vomit. I sure say by hand can't be on the dust also. So the Rambam, Asui Nukum is out, has to do with the epiglottis, and therefore to strain the limbs even on the first day is awesome. Mutar Krol Vlad Bivgadim Shlois Muivarv. You can, however, swaddle limbs to prevent him from becoming deformed or dislocated. And to set his limbs and make them straight without this additional pressure, because that's normal. It's just like even to eat and drink. Mr. Bura says, however, that if it's a child who wouldn't normally swallow on a weekday, now swallow on Shabbos. Leave it off for Shabbos. I can't do. Also feed. They leave of God, but for the vertebrae of the spine, it's also even if you do it through swaddling. Although he brings our Mishbar example from the Miri, and through swaddling it's actually mutter because it's not biyadayim. So it's a very polar machlokas there. V'day, you know, the Zeshis by B'siva according to the Sasai Ben Shiva also Taflo. That was said if he's not sure with a 7-month term or an 8-month term, you can't move him. Yes, the Metato Kosvek, because it'll allow you to move any suffix. Okay, look at that. The meaning is by any suffix, will never be allowed tiltul for sure. You're not machmir by moving a person because of your suffix. And okay, do a shenafel, unless it's definitely no, that is a miscarriage. Vadai, definitely. A coach of ball piresh. I guess because he knows precisely when the child was conceived. If suffix was in doubt, metallically, we can move it. Shinlam Rav, Dine Mila B'Shabbos. Also Bris Mila. Al Christ, Baby, you're there, Simon Father Mila B'Sman Derech Shabbos. Mila, it's proper time, pushes off Shabbos. For Shlom time, it's not proper time, and it Shabbos doesn't push it off. B'Hashem Simcha Fei Mila, Huchel B'Shabbos, V'Lo B'Chuyah. By Mila, Shabbos is eliminated. It's not just push back. Aisha, Mosim Kol Tzarechim Mila B'Shabbos says to you, anything necessary for as the Mila on Shabbos morning, actual circumcision, the pouring, the ripping of the top of the aver, and the motitzim to suck out the blood. The Mishnah Berurah says the machlekes place if mitzitza has to specifically be with the mouth, or it's okay to use a sponge and use the sponge even on Shabbos. V'nosav kaman ashol, you put on him ground kimmel, caraway, made of Shabbos, and his barasham nein chiluk ben moel echad harbe moelim. It doesn't matter how many people participate in the bris milah. Shadchil chayim gam Shabbos the mush losh moelim. You can do employ 3 moelim in the bris. Zeh chotech, one cuts. Zeh pored, the one rips. Zeh motzis, the other one sucks. The log sheish machmir and the lo ma'at b'Shabbos lo yomol rak moel echad. Not like the yesh machmir says on Shabbos to only employ 1 moel. The Shuvah Tzacham says that it shouldn't be more than 3 people. No, it shouldn't be more than 2 people. The porea should be the motzis. Shus Yaakov though says that you can have 3 people, like the Arukh HaShulchan. Base, as long as you're still involved in doing the bris milah, you go back and cut up strips of skin, even they're not impediment to the bris milah, and they're not necessary for the bris milah to be halachically kosher. And even if you're no longer cutting, as long as he or somebody else is dealing with priya in the tearing, it's called he didn't remove his hand. But after he did the tearing, it's called he moved his hand. Because although we do matita, it's not part of the procedure. It's done in order to avoid a sakana of infection or such like. The Shmuel says that the Ran is not sure. It says maybe while involved matita, it's also considered to be involved in the milah, and it can't go back with tzitzim, the strips, henemakris, the milah, which are not an impediment, but nevertheless we normally cut. What is called the tzitzin maknas amila? A basar chova rov gova shalatora, the flesh which covers most of the height of the crown of the aver. Mogam echad, if it's in one spot, I feel dakmod even if it's very thin. Basachov milkova shel Torah, and the flesh which encompasses the minority of the height of the crown of the aver, make it tzitzim she'en makrin. It's called a tzitzim she'en makrin, because most of it is gone. There was a. It says certainly the majority of the circumference of the Torah, even if it's not, most of its height is also called tzitzim makrin. Okay, back to Arukh HaShulchan. If you didn't rip the flesh, you're supposed to. You do it afterwards as well. So do the sucking. You didn't suck properly. You're not sure if you're motzitz properly or not. So go back and suck again. You call suffix sakon because it's a suffix sakon, which pushes up Shabbos. Really, the gam b'chitu im yesh etzol suffix im yezel me'atzitza makrin alav. Even my cousin says, if you're not sure if this is one of the areas of the skin which is impediment or not, such a way you can't be precise in getting a bus cover of Torah and figuring out if the flesh remains covers most of the Torah or not. Can't pre-associate suffix, something with the ripping when there's a suffix. Close there, you go back. Sharei came in the Torah, Yitir Shabbos, Gami Mila, since the Torah eliminated Shabbos vis-a-vis Mila. Until the Torah allows you to keep going, until you're able to eliminate the doubt from your heart. If whether the Mila was appropriate or not. And the contrary, if you didn't do the Mila properly, it's called Shabbos and it's a mitzvah. And there's even on the tzitzim which are not impediment, the ships are not impediment, there's machlokes, Jessurim shechos the gamalei, my shah. So to say go back for them, we don't pass them that way. Mil b'makom suffix, but if it's a suffix, whether they're tzitzim or not, via the chayzer, you clearly go back. Push the gamma tzitzin, she'em akvin achar Shabbos chayzer. And tzitzin she'em akvin, which are definitely not makif, they're not even suffix, after Shabbos you go back and cut them as well.